Hey everybody, it's Zach. Welcome back to the here. Welcome back. No, not tomorrow. Welcome back to Zach's Here HQ. And guys, we are back in again with another. We're back in again with another spoiler discussion for X-Men '97 Season 2. We're gonna be talking about episodes 1, 2, and 3. I actually have to move this because I forgot the live chat's gonna be up, guys. Sorry if I'm kind of like out of sorts. I'm running a little bit late because I started a little bit late to do this live spoiler discussion for the first 3 episodes of X-Men '97 Season 2. I loved them. I just got done reacting to the first 3 episodes over on Patreon. Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. I'm very excited to talk about it. Of course, these are the episode names for the episode. Episode 1 is titled Days of Past Future. Episode 2 was titled A Force to Be Reckoned With, and episode 3 was titled Rise of Apocalypse Part 1. I really enjoyed these episodes. I'm going to tell you my rank of these episodes so far. How I ranked them was episode 2 as my number 1, episode 1 as my number 2, and episode 3 as my number 3. So far, that's how I would rank the episodes. I really enjoyed episode 2. It's probably my favorite of the season so far. And I really enjoyed episode 1, but episode 2 is my favorite. Yo, we got some people in here. Alternator, you said yo. Jamiki, you said yo. Jamiki said, I was so happy. New background. Yeah, new background. Yeah. I moved. So, yeah, new background. My Marvel Legends are in the background and everything. So, yeah, new background, new studio. In case you didn't know, Jamiki, I moved out of my parents' place. So, I'm the old studio is in the room over, which is now my bedroom, which is now my walk-in closet, is the old studio. But yeah, I moved into a new room, so yeah, new background. But yeah, guys, you said episode 2 was real fun. 2 was goated. 2 was goated. X Factor, X Force. Yeah, I really enjoyed episode 2, but we're gonna talk about episode 1 real quick. I do have an image, I believe. So let's kind of talk about episode 1 real quick, which is, I believe, that we'll go with this for the episode 1. All right. Episode 1 was really good. Apparently, it's been a couple of months that this team of X-Men have been in the future with Nathan. At this point, Nathan doesn't know that Jean and Scott are his parents. He doesn't know. They've been kind of helping Nathan fulfill his destiny. Scott and Jean have a little bit of a problem, kind of like wrapping their head around the fact that Nathan has a destiny and they're not supposed to tell Nathan who they are, really kind of like disrupt the timeline too much. At this point, this is Cable's future. This is Cable's kind of like future right here on Cable's life. Cable would have already known all of this, but to them, this is new. But to Cable, this is just how his life was. But of course, Cable couldn't tell them that interaction that he had with them. So in the future, when he first met them, but I do like the fact that we're here to help Cable fulfill his destiny of taking down Apocalypse. And I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed, seeing how the team is operating in the future. I thought that was really cool. And I love, dude, I can't get over it, but I really, really do love, was it Feral Wolverine? I really do like that design for him. He actually looks pretty cool the way they have him here, especially with his bone claws. I do like the idea that his bone claws do break, but they do regenerate. I do like that a lot. I think it's really, really cool. It's a fun aspect to that, seeing how like ruthless Wolverine can be, but how his claws can break against metal objects. It just adds some flair to it, and I really do mess with it. It's really, really cool. But at this point, they're trying to get back. And Forge and Bishop go to 2 different parts of time. Forge goes to save Storm, because that's where his heart lies with this team of X-Men with Scott, Jean, Morph, Wolverine, and Storm. So that's where his heart lies. So he goes to the future to save them, to bring them back to their main time. And then we have Bishop going to save Rogue. I think it's Rogue, Magneto, Professor X, Beast, and Nightcrawler from the past. So I do like the idea that they have their teams, they have their missions to save each team and bring them back to the main time. So then that way they can kind of like deal with Apocalypse there. So I do like that. They kind of know why they are where they are, but I really do enjoy that. So this is kind of like them trying to we catch up with this team on where they're at in the future with Nathan, and in episode 2 we catch up where or I guess episode 3 we catch up where like Magneto and them are at in the past with Ensabanol and his rise to becoming Apocalypse, and how they kind of deal with both sides of dealing with Apocalypse. I really did like that a lot, and I really enjoyed this episode. Reading the chat a little bit, you guys said you live with your sister. You said X-Men. You said was goated. You live with your sister. X-Men fighting the Horsemen was good. Yeah, the X-Men fighting the Horsemen was cool. In this episode, I thought that was pretty cool. I had no clue the Horsemen that were here of Apocalypse in the future. I don't know any of them, so I was like, I don't know who any of these people are. But I thought it was really cool the fight sequence where Storm, Morph, and was it Wolverine and Forge show up to save Scott and Jean and Nathan. I like that a lot because Scott and Jean take Nathan to kind of raise him on his own because they didn't like the idea that Forge showed up just to take them back home, but they couldn't spend time and be with Nathan because they never wanted to send Nathan off to the unknown of the future to begin with. But that's where they needed to send him in season 1 so he could get the medicine he could get so that he would, and they knew that he would be fine because they found out that Nathan is Cable. So they knew he would be fine, but they were going to like leave him to a life of them not being able to spend their time with him. So they went off thinking that was a good idea, but Apocalypse, of course, and his horsemen found them, and Apocalypse wants Nathan so he could be reincarnated and take Nathan's abilities. So that's when we get this fight sequence where Storm, Morph, Wolverine, and also Forge show up to help out, and of course Morph turns into Thor. That was really, really cool. Like that fight sequence a lot. And then of course they do get sent back to the main timeline, so that way they can kind of deal with Apocalypse there, because Apocalypse does end up leaving to where the X-Men are probably the most I guess you could say vulnerable, which is in their time, which cuts back to, I don't know if any of you guys remember, at the end of season 1, Apocalypse does show up, and he picks in Genosha and picks up the Gambit's card and said there's no time for death. And we get in episode 2, we'll talk about that, but the kind of goes a little bit more with him trying to build his new horsemen and where that's going to go, because I have a feeling on where this is all going, and I was worried that we wouldn't set up that reveal. I was worried that they were going to hold it off until season 3, but I have a feeling hopefully we are getting him this season, which we'll talk more about that. But I do like how they're putting the pieces together, where the Apocalypse that we saw at the end of season 1 is the Apocalypse that we saw leave the future to go to the most vulnerable point of the modern day era of the X-Men, where the X-Men are really not there, and kind of the tensions are high between the government and the mutants and how that's all going. So it's brilliant writing. I'm loving where they're going. So it's really, really good. You said, Ultra Nerd, Scott pulled a Darth Vader with revealing he is his father. Yes, he did. Ultra Nerd, you said also the fact the X-Men are responsible for Cable and Apocalypse reminds me of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, where Peter is the reason he is Spider-Man. Yeah, I do like that. That's good little foreshadowing there. Alternate, you said Wolverine was fun. Wish he got the see more of his feral Wolverine side for his upgraded healing factor. Yeah, that would have been pretty cool. He looked like he was struggling, though, when Forge first found him. So I don't know. I feel like he wasn't... I don't know. I feel like he was having issues. Because it looked like his healing wasn't so healing, which was kind of weird. Jimmy G said, I was surprised Rachel didn't reveal to Storm she was Scott and Jean's daughter from Days of Future Past. I did not pick up on that. Was that supposed to be Rachel? That would make sense. The hairdo and everything, that would make sense that is Rachel Summers, Scott and Jean's daughter. That makes sense now. Okay, you just filled in something there. I didn't put two and two together. Thank you, Jamiki. You said, "Oh yeah, I don't know any of them too." Okay, good. I was very kind of like, who are they? You said, alternate. I all I know his four horsemen are death, famine, war, and something else. Okay. Do they actually have actual names? I don't know if those dudes have actual names. The horsemen right there. I don't know. Um, you said in the comics, Gambit became Apocalypse new Four Horsemen. Okay, yeah, I think that's what they're gearing up for because we saw a casket in episode 2, which I want to talk about because I feel like that is Gambit's casket, and I want to talk more about that. Episode 2 is really when things start getting good. There's a lot more of the meat of the story in episode 2, but we're kind of getting each like present, like past, present, and or I guess future, present, and past. We're getting kind of like where our teams are at, where their mindset is at, really what their end goal is of dealing with things, and again, future, present, and past. So I like what they're doing here. You said we might see recruited Gambit concerning the Death Horseman is dead. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. What's up, Lawrence? How's it going? He's also very glad we got to see Rama Tut in episode 3. If we get Council of Kang Rama wait cameo, that would be sick. Alternator, I just want to say, seeing Kang was so sick in episode 3. I was very unsure if that Ramatut was if we were actually getting Kang, but we're getting Kang. He mentioned conquering. He was doing that like the highly advanced technology of being able to travel through time. I don't know if this Kang, I assume this Kang is the Kang the Conqueror that already has powers of time travel, hence his kind of like his advanced technology, and it kept getting more advanced. So I'm gonna assume this Kang has the power of time travel, and I wonder where Apocalypse, was it En Sabano, this early Apocalypse gets the idea of time travel. I wonder when he came across that technology. That's where, because I assumed, and my guess was when I was watching episode 3, is that he must get the idea of time travel from this version of the X-Men team. You know what I mean? With Beast, and was it Rogue? Was it Nightcrawler, Professor X, and also was it Magneto trying to get back to the present? I felt like he was going to find that hidden room with, again, Beast trying to work on a way for them to get back to their time. I was like, he might get the idea of time travel from them. So they played with it very well, and I do feel like the fact that the X-Men being where they're at is what's setting Apocalypse on the path of where he's supposed to go. So it's interesting, is I feel like they're the reason it kind of they shape their future, or I guess their present to then shape the future, where I feel like everything was supposed to happen for a reason. Nathan was supposed to be sent to the future so he could take out Apocalypse. I feel like this team of X-Men was supposed to be sent to the past so they could set Apocalypse on the path he's supposed to go on so he could fight Nathan, and then Nathan could defeat Apocalypse. I feel like everything's supposed to go the way they're supposed to go to set Nathan on the path he's supposed to be on. So I do like what they're doing here. It's very much, your destiny. It's like in both ways. Team Scott is setting Nathan down the path of his destiny, and Team Magneto is setting Apocalypse down the path of his destiny, which is both of them clashing at some point. So I do like what they're setting up here. You said, Jamaica, you said, you said, pal, wait, I don't know, Pastelins, Lamushi, or Freeman, Jabali were, okay, I can't pronounce any of those names. Death saves her here in the final Horseman names. Okay. Have a theory. The reason we see the X-Men are wearing the leather jackets in the trailer is because when Cable was questioning the spandex, and Cyclops mentioned leather, Cable now gives them leather. I mean, maybe you're probably right. It gives kind of the Cable the idea of that. Would you expect black leather? And he kind of does that. That would make sense. Basically a way to tell his Dad, yeah, black leather jackets are cool. That would be funny. That would be funny, alternate. That's a damn good theory. You might be right. You may be right. But I really enjoyed this episode. We kind like I said, we ended off where uh Jean, Scott, Morph, Bishop, Storm, Wolverine all go back to their main time, and Nathan is set on his path of really becoming Cable and doing his stuff. Where we where we have modern day Cable, so the Cable we all know and love. So I did like this episode. It was a really standout episode, but I want to talk about episode 2 now. Episode 2 is really what I want to talk about because episode 2 is my favorite of the bunch, which let me click that real quick. Let me go to episode 2, which if I could find an image, I just need to find just like a standard image. So let me go to the internet real quick. Well, we could talk about this. We're not going to click it, but the in episode 2 where was it Cable is building his X-Men and it's X-Force and we have the X-Force like opening, that was sick. I was not expecting we would have an X-Force / X Factor opening, but it was peak. It was peak. It was cool. I really like the idea that they did like it would only make sense that we're not with our normal X-Men and we are with Cable's X-Men. He is recruiting. He's going to recruit Jubilee. He's going to recruit Roberto. I loved how they had their intro. Very cool. Very sick. I'm not gonna lie, I hate X Factor. I hate X Factor. I hate what they're going with. I don't like how X Factor works for the government. It's the government's X-Men of like pretty much rounding up mutants and trying to keep the peace between mutants and non-mutants. I don't like that. I don't mess with that. I don't care what delusions, Havoc, Polaris, was it Feral, or was it? Oh, I think her name was Feral. Or correct me if I'm wrong. I don't like what they were spitting down on the fact of we're doing the right thing. We're trying to keep the peace. We're trying to keep the order. We're trying to fill what like we're trying to do what the X-Men would do. That's not what the X-Men would do. So that was bullcrap. Like, I don't get me wrong, I love Havoc, he's cool. But as Jubilee said, he's great value, bro. Like he said, like gonna be like bootleg Cyclops. Like wannabe Cyclops. Like, no, dude. Like it was hilarious because I did love this episode also. Cable has a different way of running his X-Men than his dad, than what Scott would do. They kill. They do kill. So Cable was not afraid to kill to get answers to take down Apocalypse. To take down one of Apocalypse's horsemen, he was not afraid to do that. To get information, to have Psylocke go into this dude's mind, was not afraid to do that. So that was interesting to me. I love the morals of Jubilee and Roberto being there to tell Cable this isn't what the X-Men are supposed to do. We need to be better. We're supposed to stop this killer, which is Apocalypse, this ruler, but look at what we're doing. And what does that make us any different than Apocalypse? I liked that Jubilee was the voice of reason. That was cool. I really enjoyed that. And also Jubilee and Roberto's costumes in this episode were sick. Which I'm gonna try to get like an image here. We kind of have some stuff here already, but let me try to get an image of like Roberto and the X Factor team or X Force team. Let me just try to pull an image. I do like, which let me click it. Roberto and Jubilee's design. I do like it a lot. All the designs grew on me. I just want to make that clear. I did not like the designs when we got the early leaked, I guess, not concept, but early look images at what our X-Men were gonna look like. I did not mess with the outfits. Now I do like them. They are growing on me. You said, was it okay? Basically, okay, read that. You said X-Force intro you said made me cry a little bit. I mean, it was cool. It was cool. Jimmy, I know how much you love the X-Men. You know more about the X-Men than I know about the X-Men. Like, I know stuff about the X-Men, but you dive deep. So I can imagine that was very emotional for you, and that I'm happy that you're getting the things that you've been wanting. I know you're a huge X-Men fan, so I'm glad you're getting what you're wanting. And for me, that's really kind of like a lot of this is my first introduction. Like I've known of X-Force, I've known of X Factor, I've known of them. I'm learning more about them here, and I'm really messing with it. It's really, really cool. So I can only imagine for like die hard comic readers how much people are jumping for joy. Like it is cool. It was cool how they did that. You said, would you get X Factor figures? Yes, I would probably get X Factor figures of X-Men 97. Them on their own, no. It would have to be X-Men 97 for me personally, because I like the designs here and I like the way they look here. I prefer the way like the animation figure look compared to the comic figure look. So yeah, I'd probably pick them up just to complete the set if they do make them, which I do feel like they will. Wolfsbane. I figure she was something. Yes, Wolfsbane. Wolfsbane's cool. Would I have picked that figure up on its own? No, because we've had the X Factor figures release, or we had that team get finished between last year and this year. I probably would not have picked them up on my own. But since they are a part of X-Men 97 and we most likely will get animation interpretations of these said figures, I'd probably pick them up. That's if they choose to make them, because we kind of already have like an upgraded was it Wolfsbane? We kind of just got an upgraded Wolfsbane. I think we've never had a Wolfsbane. Maybe this you guys will have to let me know. Have we had a Wolfsbane before? I think we have. Just an upgraded one. I forget the other dude, the big guy. What's his name? Because I don't know his name. But we had a figure of him release, I think, just this past year. So I I don't know if Marvel Legends will make X-Men 97 versions of them. Maybe Havoc they will, maybe Polaris they will, but I don't know about the other two. So in that case, I if they did make a Havoc and a Polaris, I'd pick them up. And if they aren't going to make one for Wolfsbane and one for the big dude, I'd probably pick them up from, the recent releases. So, you said I would say catching bad mutants would be okay, but catching innocent child that doesn't have powers is just fucked up. Exactly, Jamaica. They're doing stuff for the government and they're trying to justify the fact that they have X-Men written on them and they're in X-Men uniforms. They're trying to justify the ends was it the means to the ends, or the ends to justify the means. They're trying to justify the fact of, oh, we're trying to keep the peace. No, you're not keeping the peace. You're literally capturing innocent mutants for what? Because what, the people that don't have powers are getting like what, the tensions are rising high, so you're just trying to take innocent mutants off the street. It does not, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. Like, mutants are scared. They just had like uh what would you call it? Like a massive slaughter happen, a genocide happen, and now the X-Men that fight for them are gone, and there is no school to house innocent mutants, to house mutants. Nothing. They can't have anything. So if anything, I understand why the mutants are, worried and the tensions are raising high, because they are worried. They've been hunted. It's just crazy that the fact that the X Factor team was trying to justify them working for the government. It's crazy. A government-led X-Men team is wild. Is wild to me. I don't know. I just love what when Jubilee was not afraid to talk back to X Factor and be like, you guys aren't the X-Men. You guys aren't doing what the X-Men would do. I loved what Jubilee was doing. Strong Guy. I couldn't remember bro's name. You said Strong Guy, yeah. You said that you said Strong Guy, cool. You said Polaris and Havoc are elite, or wait, Polaris and Havoc are leaks one. Are the leaks one? So okay, so Polaris and Havoc are gonna have figures for X-Men 97. You said Strong Guy, thank you, Jamigi. You said, I get that it's an X-Men show, but why not recruit other heroes in the X-Force like Spider-Man? He's had adventures with the X-Men in his own show. I don't know. I don't know why they didn't do that. Maybe they didn't want to go too much outside of keeping it the X-Men show, besides the cameos. You know what I mean? Bro, Strong Guy is such a lame name. I'm sorry. It is. Strong Guy also is it's a dumb character. He's a dumb character. I'm sorry. I don't want to be rude for any Strong Guy supporters or fans out there, but I'm sorry. Like, I would never pick up a figure unless they make an X-Men 97 version of him, or, you know what I mean? I probably would never pick him up. If it wasn't for this series, I would never pick up the figure. I hate to say it, but it is true. The X Factor using the X-Men brand to kidnap kids is like when cops in Born Again use the Punisher logo to kill vigilantes. Thank you, Alternative. That is the perfect like analogy. Like that's perfect. A perfect comparison. Perfect. You said the little girl from this episode is named Maggie. She is from the comic called The Marvels. Okay. You said Quicksilver is also in X Factor. I don't know. I think we are going to get Quicksilver. I think he was in the leaked trailer promotion or the leaked stuff for. I think we are getting Quicksilver this season, I believe. I think. You have to let me. I'm pretty sure we saw him. But I do like the design. Like I said, I do like the design. Of course, we have the X Factor team. I don't know who is this? Who is this? I don't know who this dude is. I knew who these two were. I knew she looked familiar, and I knew he looked familiar. I have no clue who this is. You guys will have to let me know. But yeah, I didn't really care much for this guy. He's off world. He's off world. Oh, okay. So Quicksilver's off world. I remember when Forge and Cable were looking at who they had on the roster to kind of, being the new X-Men, because they knew they had to get a new X-Men team. And I guess he was off-world. You were right. But yeah, the X Factor look cool, but I don't root for what they stand for. But kind of going on to episode 3, because we end episode 2 where we do end up, Roberto and Jubilee do end up breaking out the rest of the innocent mutants that the X Factor and the government have rounded up. I do like that ending, and I love how Jubilee like stunned on them and like did fireworks as she kind of like did her exit. That was cool. And we kind of ended the episode very much so where they got innocent mutants out, and we end up finding out when we do find Apocalypse's location. Apocalypse had a casket, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find an image of Apocalypse having said casket, but I do think it's Gambit. Which I'm just gonna look up. We'll just look up Gambit. Apocalypse. We're just gonna look up the one scene X-Men 97 Gambit Apocalypse. 97. Let's see if I can get the image. Okay, so right here. I do feel like when we saw because at this point he would have already in episode 1 he left the future. He left the future to take on the X-Men in their present time, where they're most vulnerable, where the tensions are high between the mutants and the non-mutants. So he is making his new 4 horsemen. And then we see a casket and he's working on something. Yeah. He's going to bring him Gambit back to life. We knew that was going to happen, but it is happening here. He's bringing Gambit back to life. It is happening. I wonder when we'll get the Gambit reveal. I have a feeling we won't get that reveal until the halfway point. I'm assuming maybe like episode 6. I'm thinking episode 6. That's my guess. I'm curious to know when you guys think we'll get him. I don't think we'll get him in episode 5, that reveal. I don't think so. But you never know. Maybe it will be episode 5. 5 to 6, I think, is when we'll get the Gambit reveal. I feel like they're going to hold on to it, though, because I feel like they're laying the breadcrumbs, especially where I put 2 and 2 together when Apocalypse left in the future to take on the X-Men in the present. I knew instantly that this end sequence where he picked up the card and he showed up to Genosha, I instantly put 2 and 2 together. So then, mind you, this sequence, and then it goes to the sequence where he gets all the technology to bring back Gambit in his casket. Like, the pieces are being put together, and I'm putting the pieces together. You said, his name is Multiply Man? Okay. I don't think Wolfsbane has a voice actor. Really? I feel like Wolfsbane should. I know we didn't hear her talk too much. It's definitely Gambit. Also, Apocalypse needs to get a new War Horseman. Okay. Episode 7. It's called Savage Heart, Strange Land. Okay, so you think episode 7 is when we get Gambit? You might be right. You may be right. I think it's gonna happen episode 6. If it happens in episode 7, I think episode 7 is the finale, right? That would be crazy. My worry was is that we wouldn't get Gambit until next season. That they would hold off on Gambit's reveal until the finale episode, and then they would deal with Gambit until the following season. I hope that's not accurate. I hope we get a little bit of more time with seeing how this new Gambit is gonna be. I hope they reveal him in episode at least 5 or 6, so that way we don't feel like we were kind of like screwed over, because I feel like we all thought we'd get Gambit's reveal early, and then we would have him for a little bit, and then we would have him more in season 3. So I don't know. I hope we get him in episode 6, 5 to 6 minimum. I hope we aren't waiting until episode 7. You said end of episode, end of 7. You said 9 is the finale. Okay, so we have 9 episodes. Okay, I didn't know we had 9. Okay, so we have 9 episodes. Okay, then that works differently. Then I would be happy if we got them in 7, because we would have them for 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so that works. I'm happy with that. I can get with that. All right, let's talk about episode 3 now, which I do have an image for that, with En-Sabah and in the past. And of course we have Rogue, Rogue, Professor X, Magneto, Nightcrawler, Bishop, and also Beast. This is where we end up with them, but at this point Bishop is not here in the beginning of episode 3. He is trying to complete his mission, because at this point we start episode 3 with Forge and the rest of the X-Men that were in the future with Nathan. So, and they are in the present now. So now Bishop needs to complete his mission and get the rest of the X-Men back and bring them to the present. So we don't get Bishop until the end of the episode. That reveal though of Bishop was there and he was helping the X-Men, because at that point things go south, because Magneto's plan in this episode, in episode 3, is to try to send Apocalypse, or En-Sabah send his destiny down a different path, where he is no longer like gonna become this ruler, become this destroyer. He is going to take Charles's philosophy of having humans and mutants coexist. He's trying to get Apocalypse to have that mindset to reshape their future, but that has big ramifications to try to put that onto Apocalypse when we know how much of a villain Apocalypse is. So I do like the idea that Eric is trying to use Charles's philosophy to make a better world for their X-Men, but for the mutants and for the world. I do like where Eric is coming from, but it's very dangerous to mess with the time like that. Those are big, huge ramifications for the future, or for the present, then going into Cable's future. So I get it, but like it's dangerous, and even Charles is like, this is very dangerous. I get where you're coming from, but we got to be very careful. If we're going to try to do this, which again, Charles is very hesitant. And I was worried at first when Eric was talking to En-Sabah Apocalypse. I was like, I don't like how Eric is so against humans, and and if it was up to him, he would probably make humans I hate to say it, but like in a way, like slaves. Like he would do that because humans have treated them and have exterminated mutants. He would turn it very much so that we should be ruling humans. I couldn't help but feel like in the beginning, okay, like you talking to Apocalypse is not the best idea, where Apocalypse at this point is trying to roll. He's trying to, you know, like have in a way become the ruler. In a way, he has good intentions in Sabanol. He wants to no longer have slaves at this point of being mutants being slaves. He wants a better life for them. He wants to um make them free. You know what I mean? But and he has good intentions, but when you have Eric, you know what I mean? It's like, how is this gonna go? But I'm glad Eric surprised me. He did. Magneto surprised me. Is like, okay, I want to send him down a better path, where we're not rolling over humans, but we can coexist. He surprised me. I was not prepared for Magneto to surprise me like that, and still believe in Charles's philosophy. I was not prepared for that. I'm happy about it, but it does the ramifications are like would be catastrophic of that much of a change. But if it could be done right, I don't know, but everything's supposed to happen for a reason. You could say that everything is supposed to happen for the reason where the X-Men were needed. To think about it, like without like the idea of mutants, and you know what I mean, of that was the X-Men's purpose, to find so mutants and people could coexist, like and humans could coexist. That was the point of the X-Men, and for people to have a safe place. That is the point of the X-Men. So if you make this world, this great coexisting world, what does that mean for the X-Men's purpose? So it's like you doing this, it's crazy, like ramifications, changing the time, like the future like that. Like it's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. You said, I hope Gambit doesn't turn good until the finale. Okay. Um, Character development indeed. Jamaican, and that's what I love, is that Eric. I was worried when Eric, like, because Eric started out in season one believing in Charles' philosophy, but it wasn't until the destruction of Genosha where he changed. He's like, humans and mutants cannot coexist. We need to be the rulers over humans. He was back to his normal Ericness, and I was worried. And then, of course, we had X-Men fighting X-Men. We had it all go down, and I was worried that when we met up with Eric in the past with the rest of the X-Men, this team of X-Men, I was worried that Eric and Charles were not going to be on the same kind of like mindset. That Eric was no longer believing in Charles' philosophy, and it was going to try to use Apocalypse so that way the mutants could roll over, non-mutants. I was really worried that that's where we were going. But no, we are still on the right path, where Eric sees sees Charles's philosophy and actually it working, but is using Apocalypse in his rise, his early stages, to shape Apocalypse to fulfill Charles's philosophy of mutants and non-mutants coexisting, which is brilliant. But I just feel like there's huge ramifications that it could go really bad. It could go one of two ways. So we'll have to wait and see what they choose to do, because at this point we end this episode where Bishop does show up. Bishop does, from what we look like, take the X-Men back from what it looks like, because he gave them the bracelets. You could say quantum bands, which would be kind of funny, because in a way you could say that. Even though we have no idea if like the quantum realm and all that good stuff is like being implemented here, but like time bands, where it sends them to the present day, to their time. We don't know if they made it out. I know they made it out, because the episode it's part one. This episode was titled Rise of Apocalypse Part 1. And we end this episode, like I said, where we think they jumped, but at this point Apocalypse now knows that Eric was keeping things, and the rest of the X-Men here were keeping things from him. And it was time travel. He doesn't know it's time travel. He just knows that the devices that Rama-Tut was using to stop Apocalypse or Ensabanol from completing his mission is the devices that they are using to, for some unknown reason, he doesn't know what that reason is. And we kind of see that Rama-Tut knows where Apocalypse is and sends like a big huge beam to destroy where Apocalypse is hiding. And we don't know if they made it out. I assume they made it out, and my theory is that when the X-Men jump, which I assume they did, my theory is I think Ensabanol grabbed one of them and is going to be now sent to the present. And that might be where he realizes, okay, time travel exists. And I could be this great ruler, because he might see where the tensions are high, where even then, mutants and non-mutants cannot coexist. And I feel like that could send him down his role, his pathway he was supposed to go on, the Apocalypse's history, where he's going to be like, I could rule. I could change. This is my destiny. I feel like we are seeing how Nathan's life was supposed to go. We are seeing how Apocalypse's life was supposed to go. Where they have good intentions, Eric and Charles, but it's not going to go the way they think. It's going to send Apocalypse down the path he was always supposed to go on. Send Ensabanol on his path to Apocalypse. So I do feel like that's where we are going. That's my theory, is that Ensabanol is going to be in present day and is going to realize who he's supposed to become. So we'll have to wait and see. I really don't know. You said character development. I think he gave Apocalypse celestial tech. I think he gave Apocalypse celestial tech. What do you mean when he I think he shot that beam like to kill Apocalypse. Was it Ramatut Kang? I think he sent it to destroy him because in a way they both want to rule. And if Apocalypse rules Egypt, that stops Ramatut, aka Kang, from him being a conqueror. So it's like he wanted to take him out of the picture, but I do think he didn't. I think he sent him to the future with the rest of the X-Men. So we'll have to wait and see. We won't really know what's going to happen until episode 4, which will be part 2, which we do have the episode guide. We do have the episode guide, which I do want to show off real quick, the episode guide. So let's look, let's find that real quick. The episode guide, because I know it's somewhere. Okay, here we go. So episode 4 will be titled Rise of Apocalypse Part 2. So same thing. I guess that makes sense. Rise of Apocalypse Part 1, Rise of Apocalypse Part 2. So I do think it's going to happen. I do think that Ensabanol, past Apocalypse, is going to be sent to present day, where future Apocalypse is now at. So this is going to be like catastrophic for the timeline, for the time stream. It's going to be cooked. If you have 2 Apocalypses rolling around, past and future, I don't know what that's going to do to the time stream. Like I could see B saying that this is catastrophic. That we have 2 Apocalypses here. We messed with the timeline. This is not good. Like it's going to be crazy. Maybe he intended to kill Apocalypse, but maybe he absorbed the tech. Maybe you could be right. Jimmy, you very well could be right. And he would have celestial tech in modern day, present day. So, because I do think he went with the X-Men. That's my guess. That is my guess. We'll have to wait and see. We won't really know until we get episode 4 next week. And I think if I'm correct, we don't have any more double episodes. So, episodes 1, 2, and 3 are our only kind of like drop episodes at the same time, like a 3 drop. We don't have any more 2 drops, 3 drops. So this was a 3 episode premiere. We no longer have a duo episode. Like we only got 3 episodes for the premiere. And that is it. I'm not going to lie. I'm happy about that because it's easier for me to talk about them. I'm sorry if I was kind of like, I hope I did this very well, talking about each episode of the premiere of X-Men 97 season 2. I kind of got all my thoughts across and kind of like all of me kind of like describing and going through each episode. Again, how I would rank the episodes is, like I said, episode 2 is my number 1, episode 1 is my number 2, and episode 3 is my number 3. I'm curious to know, guys, how would you rank these episodes? What was your favorite episode? of the 3-episode premiere of X-Men 97 season 2, let me know. I really want to know. You said Bo wrote the first 5 and they only let people see up to 4 early. Okay. Okay. That's interesting. That will be interesting. I'm not going in with that mindset though. Like, I know a lot of people are and again, it's gonna happen because of the drama with Bo DeMayo and how all that went down. Um, I'm not looking at it from a perspective of who wrote what. I'm just looking at the perspective of if it stays good. I'm just looking at it as, okay, the show's out, let's watch it. Now knowing that though, Lawrence, you letting me know that will be interesting. I'll keep that in the back of my mind of, okay, if he wrote the first 5 episodes and we only got the first 3, that is going to be interesting to see where we go in terms of quality. But even then, I'm not looking for that. I will not be looking for that. Like, if it dips, I'm just going to look at it from the sheer perspective of if the show just like me enjoying it and just watch it and see where the story goes. But I know there will be people out there that will look at it from that perspective of, oh, is it good? Like, oh, I bet you will only be good for the first 5 and then it'll drop off. Like, people will literally look for that. So, which is crazy that there are people out there that will be doing that. And just can't just enjoy it just to enjoy it. Because there are people out there that think that since he's not involved, the show that means the show is doomed. You have people, and he wasn't the only one, that are passionate about this series. They brought back people from the original series to do this show. It doesn't all follow under one person being let go. There's a whole team behind this series, and people can't fathom that, which I don't get that at all. Like, I don't get that. We'll never know what went what. I just know that there are passionate people behind this series, and I'm going in with that mindset. So, we will see a change in 6, maybe a good change. Yeah. So far, not much different. So far, not much. The quality is still there, and I think it's because, again, the people behind the series, the team. You know what I mean? Was it Brad Winderbaum? You know what I mean? He's behind the series, so he's the head of Marvel and was it Marvel Television. So I think with him and everybody else that they brought back, we have a passionate team for the series. I feel like Bo was taking all the credit. That's how I felt. That's how I felt too. Miggy, you're not the only one with that one. Right, the rest of the team is there. Exactly. So I have faith. I'm loving how they started this season. Now let's see how the rest of the season goes. I'm just happy X-Men 97 is back. I'm really thrilled. I'm very happy. I think again, I'll have a little bit more of a like cohesive spoiler review for you guys since we're getting 1 episode a week now. When we get these 3-episode drops, it's hard to like get all my like thoughts across and hearing what your guys' opinions are on the episodes as we go through them. I like I said, I hope I did good. Sometimes I second guess myself, but I think I did a pretty damn good job at like going through each episode and kind of giving my thoughts, hearing your guys' opinions. Like I said, great start to the season. But guys, it is 11:52. Before we get out of here though, I want to hear what your guys' like ranking is of the episode. So I'm gonna let you guys do that right now. How would you rank the first 3 episodes of X-Men 97 season 2? How would you rank it? I enjoyed all 3 episodes. Big C, I'm glad. I'm glad you enjoyed all the 3 episodes of X-Men 97 season 2. I'm glad. You said Storm being the powerhouse in the first episode was good. They got the power scale right. Yes, Storm, well, she like was able to control like did she do a supernova or did she do like a what's the word? Like solar, she did solar energy. Like I think she did like a supernova and powered up their ship. That was cool. She was able to control like the sun. Really, really cool. I like it shows how powerful Storm is, and she's super powerful. So I love how she was able to like control like supernova and do all that. So that's really, really sick. Jamaica, you said episode 213. Awesome. That's how I would rank it. W's. Uh, Lawrence, you said, I like them. I like them. Don't want to rank just yet. Okay, cool. All right. I'm going to leave it at that. Guys, I want to say thank you again for everybody that joined my spoiler discussion live review for episodes 1, 2, and 3 of the premiere of X-Men 97 Season 2. I'm really glad everybody showed up. Shout out to you, Jamiggy. Shout out to you, Lawrence. Shout out to you, Big C. Shout out to, who else we got had in here? Shout out to you, Ultra Nerd. I appreciate you. I just want to kind of like give my appreciations to everybody before we get out of here, because I do have to help my mom today. So you said, Big C, you said I would rank them episodes 1, 3, 2. I like your ranking. I like it. Good ranking. Like I said, episode 3 was good. Episode 3 was good. So you know what I mean? I like that. Like it was a good kind of like moving things along, especially with that cliffhanger. I could see why you put episode 3 at your number 2. I could see that. And episode 1 started very strong. So yeah, good ranking. Good ranking. All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. I don't know. I think stay tuned because I might have an unboxing, a Marvel Legends unboxing. 2 actually. Actually, no, not 2. 2? No, not 2. 2 tomorrow at some point. I'm gonna try to get 2 out tomorrow because my Maximum Thor Marvel Legends and also my Spider-Man Brand New Day, Spider-Man Marvel Legends are coming in tomorrow, but my Spider-Man Brand New Day Hulk Marvel Legends is coming in today, so expect an unboxing hopefully later today. So keep a lookout. If you are new, subscribe to the channel, post notifications, like this video. We will be back next Wednesday. Since the episodes drop at 3 in the morning, expect my live to go up at about 10 a.m. I would say expect me to go up, do my live at like 10 in the morning because I usually get up at 9, but I think 10 is pretty good. Or maybe we'll stick it to 11. Maybe we'll keep the 11 time. You guys will know if you have notifications put on, so expect my live stream for episode 4 spoiler discussion to go up at like 10 in the morning or 11 in the morning. Just make sure to put a notification. You guys will know when I go live for the live spoiler discussion for episode 4 of X-Men 97 season 2, titled Rise of Apocalypse Part 2. But as always, guys, hope everybody has a great day, a safe day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.